So I've been asked a great question about shading, and so I thought I'd show a little bit over here. This is a picture of a rabbit, and what I want to show here is that we've got some hard edges and some soft edges. So what do I mean by that? The ears in this picture I'm looking from are a little bit darker than some other parts. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep those as a hard edge. So that means I'm going to keep this area in between, this negative space, I'm going to keep it white, and this is going to be pretty abruptly dark. So I'm just going to do some strokes that mimic the rabbit's fur. And because this is fairly dark, I'm going to do a little bit and even just blend. Some artists say never blend with your finger, but because the oils might get on there and it makes it not quite as technical, I say go with it. Unless you've got something that really needs to be technical, very, very slight transitions between. Otherwise, I find it a lot easier. I even have different fingers, I tell people, that have different shades of darkness as I go on, especially with things like charcoal. So I'll do a little bit of texture and then I'll blend it down. And here I'm keeping a hard edge here. The picture I'm looking at has some soft edges too. Like about over here, it's pretty soft. And what I mean by that is the difference between what I'm shading in the background isn't so great. So here, hard edge. I might even start with an outline, kind of thick, because I know that's what's coming. And then if you want to blend, if you're going for a smooth blending, like you're going for a different animal besides a rabbit, if you lay it thickly enough on this outline, I can just take my finger and go in small circles and I can start to bring that over. Let me see if I can zoom in and show a little bit more. Okay, you can see a little bit of this blending. I'm just using a regular number 2, but if you have shading pencils, this works especially well with that, or charcoal even more. There we go. So I'm just showing a little bit of smooth. We're looking for textures on this project, so smooth is definitely one texture. So if you want to go for that, you're welcome to. So then on top of that, then I can add those lines in here. In the in-between spaces, I've got a little bit of value. And value is the word we use for the lightness or darkness of something. So here, hard edges over here. Soft edges would be here. It's really subtle. Maybe I'll blend this down just to get something over here. And then just do a few lines just to give an indication of some kind of fur and just leave it like that. That works well. Have your highest contrast. I'll write that word over here, contrast. That's this lightness or against darkness that just catches the eye. Have it where you want the viewer's eye to go. So here I left that little light spot just because we tend to look at subject's eyes. Eyes are a window to the soul. It gives a lot of personality, and so I'm going to do some of that here so we can see what the rabbit's thinking. Now, looking at the rest of the rabbit, I see some other values, those lightness or darkness on the head. You can see these lines I did underneath. This just helps remind me about some of the lines that I'm seeing. I'm going to cover over those. But if I do these lines where the values change, it'll be a good reminder. And here, I'm going to do some more of those line shading. This is called hatching, by the way. Hatching means lines next to each other. It shows nice texture, but also the more you do, the darker it gets. Like, let's see if I can make this nose a little darker without making it look like a pig nose. It's risky. This is risky, making art. Sometimes we do a little bit more than we should, and then all of a sudden we've got some fixing to do. So the question always is, when do you stop? When is finished? Good to get feedback on that from others who are looking at your work, and of course I'm here to give you guys feedback too. And by the way, if ever you're working on something and you want some feedback as you're making it, because you're like, I don't know if I want to go any farther, if this isn't the right way, just give me a quick email. I've been replying within the same day unless it's after 3. Then I'll get you guys. I've been replying so far in the morning to everybody who's been replying at night or in the afternoons. So I'll get back to you as quickly as I can. We can make this work. Almost always there's a way to fix things. It's just rolling with what you've got. So here you can see I'm crossing over these lines. So now I'm going for cross-hatching. Cross-hatching is a little bit different, only because it crosses over, but it's the same concept. This, by the way, is a great way to shade with pen. If you really like to use pen or interested in that, we'll probably do something with that later on in the year. But anyway, there's some shading with my rabbit. Got a little bit more on the face to do, and he's got whiskers.